so we can go ahead and go up here to this stuff. This stuff is, to me, like the most important part of a character. All of this other stuff that we've done, it's insanely important. It really is. You need to know your armor class. You need to know your initiative. You need to know what your speed is, your hit points, your skills. You need to know what all that is, because that makes the character functional, right? All of this stuff is the mechanics of it. All of the stuff that we've done so far is like, okay, so when I roll this, I'm adding this. It makes the character playable. This stuff right here, this is what makes your character your character. Your personality traits, your ideals, your bonds, and your flaws. Those 4 things right there are what make your character your character. Well, hello everybody. We're back once more. If you guys didn't catch the stream yesterday, then surprise, surprise. This is not Talking Tasha's today. In fact, instead, you're stuck with just John and myself. Sorry, no Fantasy Sword today. It's just the way it has to be. No, but seriously, Fantasy Sword had to work late tonight, so he wasn't going to be able to make it for Talking Tasha's. And so we pulled a last-second thing kind of out of our ass, and we're like, you know what would be kind of cool is I know that there's some people on the channel who are newer to TTRPGs or Dungeons and Dragons, any game like that. And so we were like, hey, let's show them how to make a character. So everything we're going to do tonight is going to be pretty much completely random. We're going to pick a random class. We're going to we'll roll for our stats because it's more fun. But pretty much any decision we have to make, we're just going to roll for it. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter. So, with that being said, get a little bit of music going here in the background. And, alright. So, first thing you gotta do when you're making a character, right? You gotta have a name for your character. So, obviously, like I said, everything is random today. So, John,
I don't know. See it. Go ahead.
Say if you want to come up with a random name. Otherwise, I was just gonna put "Bear with Us." We'll just go "Bear with Us" as the name for now. And then maybe we can have like a contest or something. Y'all can choose the name of this character.
See, I think that's a good idea, because to me, you gotta have class and you gotta have the story planned out for your character before you pick a name.
Oh, I suppose. I mean, but it's first on the character sheet.
I know.
So class, like I said, we're not actually choosing anything. We're just gonna go random. So.
What do you want me to roll?
I will pull up a list of the classes, and I'll give you a number.
All right.
If I remember right, it's not going to be an even dice roll.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
There are... There's 13. So
13.
Just roll a d12, and we just won't be making a wizard.
Oh, where's my d12? My d12 is one missing. There it is. A 10.
10. So we're making a rogue. So
ooh,
this class is going to be rogue. Backgrounds. there's a lot of different backgrounds you can go with that are officially sanctioned, and then there's ones that aren't officially sanctioned, usually referred to as either UA or just straight up homebrew, or you can go with like a custom background and just work it out with your DM. So we'll do a random background as well. Roll me a d20. Hey, welcome to the stream. Yep, we were building the rogue today. Like I said, everything's gonna be random, so we're just kind of going for it. See what we
17.
Create. A 17. All right, he's going to be a folk hero.
Ooh, a rogue folk hero.
Yeah, I'm liking this. Folk hero. Player name, we're just going to do that as bear with us as well. Race. Roll me a D20.
A D100.
I mean, pretty much, honestly. If you want to throw in all the UA and homebrew, it would be, but just roll me a D20.
A 10.
A 10, that's an easy number to count to. We were playing as a dwarf. I just find that funny. I don't know why. And then alignment. So we've got lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. So there's 9 of them, right? So roll a d10 and hope we don't get a 10.
Fair enough. A 6.
A 6. So that would be chaotic neutral. Of course it would be.
No. We're not gonna make the all-time regular rogue.
The dice has decided. Chaotic neutral for the rogue.
Yes, it has, actually. I rolled 2 6s and a fucking 0, so yes, the dice has spoken.
Alright. So far, we have a rogue that is a folk hero who is a dwarf, and their alignment is chaotic neutral. When deciding these things for real, well, race doesn't really matter anymore, which is really cool to me, because they changed that in Tasha's so that there are no racial stats anymore. So normally a dwarf, I believe, would have like a +2 to constitution, +1 to strength, and so making a rogue dwarf it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just it's not the most optimal. However, with Tasha's, now you can choose 2 of one and 1 of another one. So we'll be taking... He had a halfling
in his bloodline.
Yeah, he had a halfling in his bloodline. So we'll be taking, just to optimize this, we'll take a +2 to our dexterity, and probably a +1... There's a couple different ways you could go with this. You could go with +1 to intelligence and make a rogue whose focus is investigating, right? Or you could take a +1 to like constitution, and it's just, because you're the one in the front trying to disarm traps and stuff, you fail on a check and you're a little bit more beefy. You could also go with wisdom and be a rogue who they have a high perception, and because they're out in the front looking for traps and stuff like that, versus using the investigation skill, they would use perception a lot more. I wouldn't suggest strength. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Just personally, my brain is like, rogues don't need to be strong, you're quick. And then charisma is also a good one for rogue, because if you get caught stealing something, you can try to weasel your way out of it, or at least get like a lower punishment for yourself or something. So those are the 3 main ones. I say let's go with, I don't know, we've got...
I say intelligence. I think we should make like a fucking Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Dwarven.
All right, there it is. All right, we'll go with that. So +1 to intelligence. If you could remember that for me, John.
Yep.
All right. So now is time to roll the dice and decide what our stats are going to be. So there's a couple.
Want me to use hate and die?
There's a couple different ways that you can go about doing this. There is what's called a stat array, and there is, I believe, like an official Dungeons and Dragons stat array that you can use, which is just an array of stats that's already been set up, and you take those and you put them where you want them and add your bonuses. The other way that you can do a stat array is one of my favorite ways when doing a stat array is have everybody roll their own array, and then everybody gets to choose one of the arrays, and then everyone's starting with relatively the same stats and stuff. The other way you can do it is the point buy system, which is essentially you have a certain amount of points, and I believe you can't make a skill higher than like a 17 or something like that, and then without your bonuses, and then with bonuses it can go higher than that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of point buy. Stat array I'm okay with. And then the last way is rolling for your stats. There's a couple different ways to roll for your stats. It really depends on who your GM is. Personally, the way I do it is you roll 4d6, you drop the lowest number, and you can re-roll 1-1. So if you were to roll 4 1s, I'm sorry if you do that, but if you were to roll 4 1s, like, you would only be able to re-roll one of them. But then you would take one of the ones off at the end. So for another example, go ahead and roll 46 if you don't mind.
I got a 4, a 4, a 6, and a 1. I'll re-roll that real quick.
Alright.
Alright, it's a 4, a 4, and a 6, so I got a total of 14.
So, they got a 14. The reason they got a 14, would you mind saying what all 4 numbers were?
Okay, so when I originally rolled all 4, it was a 6, a 4, a 4, and a 1. You gotta re-roll 1 once, so I re-rolled the 1. It came out to be a 2.
And so because 2 is the smallest number, you don't add 2 to the total. You drop that one off, and that leaves you with 4, 4, and 6, which is a total of 14. I'll roll the next one. Wow, 4, 5, 6. So one more than the other one, which would be a 15. I rolled a 4, a 4, a 5, and a 6. And so because I rolled 2 4s, and those were the lowest of the 4 numbers, then I drop one of the 4s, and we take the higher 3. So right now we've got a 14 and a 15. I'm just going to put them in here as placeholders so that we don't forget what the numbers were. And then we'll move them around to the spots where we want them afterwards. So go ahead and roll your 46, and I'll roll mine. We'll just get through this a little bit faster.
3 each.
So you got 3
So 2
threes?
more? No. Shit. I got a 13.
13. 6 and a 4. And 2 3s. So 7 plus 6 is 13. And then your last one.
I'm gonna pull out all the stops for this one.
Alright. Pull out all the luckies.
I've got all of Hades' damage die.
There we go.
An 18.
There we go. So That is the
And
absolute
those are why
highest.
those are Hades and damage stats.
That is the absolute highest stat you can get when rolling stats, no matter how you do it. When rolling, anyway. So that would be rolling 3 6s, which obviously is the absolute highest you can roll. So to maximize potential with this character, what we're going to do is obviously we're going to take the 18 and put it up here in dexterity, and so that would make this a 15. And then we wanted our intelligence to be good, so we'll actually make this the 15 and change this to our 13 so we don't lose our spot. There's really no sense in having a 14 in strength for this character, so we're going to go ahead and put our 14 in constitution. The reason that I'm choosing constitution there, holy shit, 142 in strength, that would be insane. The reason that I'm choosing to put constitution as the third highest is because no matter what class you're playing, it's always nice to have some more hit points. Now, there is definitely a strong argument to be made for placing it in wisdom or charisma 100%, but for this specific character we're going to go ahead and stick it in constitution. Now we get to add our bonuses in, and since there are, like I said before, no racial stats anymore, you get to pick what your racial stats are. And so as a dwarf, we can take a +2 to any one stat and a +1 to any one stat. So again, to maximize the character's potential, we're going to give a +2 to our dexterity, bringing it up to the maximum score of a 20. And we're going to place our +1 in intelligence, bringing it up to a 16. The important thing about bringing this up to a 16 versus a 15 is that at a 15 you're still sitting at a +2, but if you get it up to a 16, then now your stat bonus is now your stat modifier is now a +3. And so we'll go ahead and fill those in. So we would have a +1 there, we would have a whopping +5 there, +2, +3, 1, and 1. And honestly, we rolled pretty decent. There's no negatives. Everything's pretty average, except for the 2 stats that we wanted to focus. And honestly, Constitution's a bit above average as well. So when talking averages when it comes to stats in D&D, most of the time that will mean a 10 is average, which means you have ±0 to your modifier. So technically we're slightly above average in everything, but a +1 is it's better than a +0,
But it's not that great.
Inspiration is something that we don't need to worry about with this character. The reason that we don't need to worry about it for this character is inspiration is something that the DM can award to their players for good role playing or making good
excellent
decisions,
creativity.
Creativity, working well together. He could give a team inspiration, something along those lines. And what that allows you to do is essentially you get an inspiration die, and the inspiration die allows you to, at any point in time, you can re-roll one of your rolls, which could be insane in a very intense situation. So play your character, get along with everybody, be creative, and the DM can award you an inspiration die. But for this, we're not going to worry about it. Actually, you know what? Since it's our creative character, we'll give him an inspiration. Proficiency bonus. Proficiency bonus goes up as you level up. At level 1, your proficiency bonus is a 2. What that means is anything that you are proficient in, you gain that bonus to any checks that you make with a skill or a tool or a weapon that you're proficient in. So, as a rogue, what are our saving throw proficiencies? I'm gonna have to look this up actually.
I believe it's dexterity and is it wisdom?
No, I think it might actually be. I'll just look. Your dexterity and intelligence.
Ah, it's intelligence.
So that actually works well for us. And so, if you have to make a dexterity saving throw, that means that you get to add your proficiency bonus to it, meaning you have a +7 to your dexterity saving throws right now. Your intelligence saving throws right now, because our intelligence is a +3, you add the +2 from the proficiency bonus, and we have a +5 to intelligence saving throws. Strength is just anything that you don't have proficiency in, is just going to be whatever your skill bonus is. So Constitution will be a 2, and these will be 1s. So next, we need to figure out what our armor class is going to be. Give me 1 second. I am just going to go ahead and make this character alongside the one that we're making up here, so that I have all the stats and everything with me. Next. Oh, no, the next thing we need to do is choose our skills. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So, you can select 4 skills from these options. Either acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Now, we already have the skills animal handling and survival. The reason that we got these skills is because of our race. We chose to go with dwarf, and I guess your basic, I guess I don't want to call them basic, but your default dwarf would be a hill dwarf. And so we're going with the hill dwarf, which gives us those proficiencies. So we can go ahead and mark that we have animal handling and we have survival. We have proficiency in that. So then we need to choose 4 between the rest. Well, based on the skills that we decided to focus dexterity and intelligence. And so we would want to keep continuing off of that to maximize our abilities. And so I'm thinking acrobatics.
Yep.
Investigation, because we're making a Sherlock Holmes type character. And then we're a rogue. We got to be sneaky and we got to be able to steal shit. So we got to have that sleight of hand and that stealth. It's just, you have to. So now to go put all of these stats in. Let's see. Oh, we're actually going to wait a second to do that, because the next thing rogues get at level 1 is their expertise. You get to choose 2 skills that you are proficient in, and you get to double your proficiency in those skills because you're a fucking rogue.
So it's got to be a sleight of hand and investigation.
Yeah, pretty much. You can do that, or you can take your double proficiency in your thieves tools, which allows you to like pick locks and everything a little bit better. I'm just looking on here for tools. I'm not seeing like, tool proficiencies anywhere. Oh, other proficiencies. You know, for the sake of ease, we're just going to put it in sleight of hand and in investigation. And so essentially what that means is our sleight of hand score would have been a 7 because we're proficient in it and we have a +5 to our dexterity. However, because we took expertise in it, we now have a +9 to it because we get to double our proficiency. Investigation, likewise, would have been a 5, is now a +7 because we decided to take our double proficiency in that. But otherwise, acrobatics is going to be a 7. Animal handling, you check your wisdom score, is a 1, so you'll have a +3 to this. Arcana is a +2. Athletics is a 1. I think you guys understand from there. So, it's 3. Alright, there we go. And that's our skills. We have them marked with our proficiencies. The reason you fill in the dots, then it's just easier to know, oh hey, I have proficiency in that. So even if you don't look fully over at the number, because once you've been playing for a while, normally you end up with these memorized. At the very least, you end up with your core stats memorized. And so if you know what your proficiency bonus is, you look over, you see you have proficiency in it, and it just clicks in your head, oh, I have proficiency in acrobatics, so I'd have a +7 to that. Yeah. So let me mark in here what we did. Investigation. Next. Now we get to choose our equipment. So, oh, that's money. That's cool how they have that there. But, since we're a rogue, we get to choose between a rapier and a short sword. Once again, we're kind of min-maxing this character, which is like a TTRPG term for making them like the best possible in the aspects of like combat and skill checks. So because of that, we're going to go with the rapier. The reason we're going to go with the rapier over the short sword is because a rapier does 1d8 damage, whereas a short sword only does 1d6. You may be asking yourself, why would you ever pick the short sword over the rapier? Well, the answer to that is aesthetics. Like, if it doesn't, if it doesn't make sense for your character to have a rapier, then, and you're playing more of a campaign that's focused on role play, focused on, characters' backstories and stuff, and it's not focused on a heavy dungeon crawl grind or a lot of monsters and stuff that you have to kill, then, it's okay to go for the aesthetic. Or if you're myself or John, we always say aesthetics over everything.
Yep.
Now,
if you look good, doesn't matter how much damage you do.
Exactly.
You look good.
Exactly. But then it does depend on who your DM is as well, because, for example, some of the characters that are in the campaign that we're going to be streaming, they're not starting with what would normally be a starting weapon for their character. It does the same amount or very similar damage, but again, I like aesthetics, and I don't think that you should be punished for aesthetics. And so
No.
if you think that a weapon is cool or something like that, then I'll find a way for you to be able to use it. But for this, like I said, we're just going with the base stuff. So we're going to go with a rapier. Next choice, you can choose between a short bow that comes with 20 arrows or a short sword. Again, we're going to go with the short bow over the short sword. The short sword's going to kind of get the shaft here, but the reason for that is because a short bow now gives you a ranged option. It does the exact same amount of damage as a short sword. It does a 1d6, but you can now shoot things from further away versus trying to throw a fucking short sword, which isn't going to work out well for you. I mean, it could, but the chances are not very good, and in a game that is based off of percentages, you're probably best to, go with where the odds are in your favor. The next choice that we are to make is going to be between a Burglar's Pack, a Dungeoneer's Pack, and an Explorer's Pack. A Burglar's Pack. The reason we're taking Burglar's Pack, Dungeoneer and Explorer's Pack, there are differences between these packs. I don't know that anyone, takes the time to look at these a lot. It's mostly your survival gear, so mountain climbing stuff, food, you have your rations, tinderbox, rope, stuff like that. All of them come with 50 feet of rope. I think they both come with climbing pythons. The biggest difference between the Dungeoneer's Pack and the Explorer's Pack is one of them comes with more rations than the other one does, and one of them comes with more of something else, but I can't think what it is off the top of my head.
One of them doesn't actually have pythons.
It's probably the Burglars or the Dungeoneer's Pack, I would guess.
I think it's
no.
I think the Dungeoneers has it. I don't think the Explorers has pythons.
I'll have to look that
One
up.
of them doesn't have a bedroll either.
But the reason that I'm going with the Burglar's Pack is because it has one of my favorite first level items that you can get with a Burglar's Pack, and that is 1,000 ball bearings. And that is not a joke. Look it up. That is real. If you take the Burglar's Pack, you get a fuckload of ball bearings. And going back to how you earn inspiration, there's a lot of ways to earn inspiration with 1,000 ball bearings. I'm just saying. The amount of creativity is endless. Making a trap, breaking a window, making a distraction, rolling it across to see if something's trapped, throwing it down the well to see how deep it is, if there's any water at the bottom. Stuff
throwing
like that.
A few of them at a guy that's chasing you to watch him fall on his face.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going for with the trap, but roll
I thought
a
you
bunch
meant
of
to
them.
see if it was a trap.
Roll a bunch of them out on the ground so that they run up and it would make it difficult terrain or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with ball bearings. In other words, I don't remember what else the Burglar's Pack gives you, honestly. Just ball bearings, and that's why we're taking it. So go ahead.
The only reason I care.
Put that down. Burglar's Pack. And then we also get our starting leather armor. We get 2 daggers because we're a rogue. This song is driving me nuts, so I'm going to change it. Sorry, I don't know what was up with that song, but it was I thought the music was cutting in and out, but I'm almost positive that it was the song doing it. And it was weird, and I didn't like it.
Gross.
And then the last thing that we get is our thieves' tools. Thieves' tools, yay! Alright, and that is our gear. And then, I don't remember, your starting gold has to do with your background most of the time. This guy's name is BWU. So, because of the background we chose, we start with 10 gold pieces, which is pretty good, honestly. It's pretty standard, but it's pretty good. Okay. Now, because we took the rapier, let's go ahead and put it up here. And this is where we start putting in all of our attack bonuses and stuff like that. So your attack bonus and your damage bonus. The biggest difference is that you don't add your proficiency to your damage. So to hit somebody with our rapier, we have proficiency to do that. So we're going to have a +7 to hit because we have a 20 in dexterity, which gives us a +5, and our proficiency gives us another +2. So that's why we have a +7 to hit with our rapier. Our damage type for a rapier is piercing damage. I don't know why it doesn't really give us room to do our what the amount of damage is, but we're gonna make it work. So long as I can find the plus button. So we will be doing +5 damage. The reason that it is +5 damage is because you don't add your proficiency to the damage, meaning you just add your modifier. So if you're attacking with dexterity, then you add whatever your dex bonus is without your modifier. So, or without your proficiency bonus. So for the most part, in your early levels until you hit level 5, it's just going to be the same thing it was to hit -2 is going to be how much damage you're doing. It's kind of an easy way to remember it. Our next weapon is the short bow, which we also have a +7 to hit with because it also, why I have a short bow, and it will also be +5, and it will also be piercing. That's spell piercing, right? Piercing. I think that's right. Yes, it's right.
I mean, I am not the greatest speller, so I would not ask.
Our last weapon that we have is Dagger. Yes, technically we have 2 daggers, but they're going to be the same to hit, so there's no sense in putting in more than 1 dagger. So, and this is also going to be a dexterity-based weapon, so +5, and it is also piercing. So our weapons
1d4.
Pretty easy. Yep. Oh, that's probably what I'm supposed to put there, not the +5.
That would make sense.
Well, it's a very small space. And I can't, there's not actually room. 1d8. Okay, we'll just do it that way. We won't put the plus in there. You guys will just have to remember that when you are building your characters. 1d4. I wonder if it'll let me. Nope, that's the max it'll go. So there we go. I don't know why short bow is the only weapon I didn't capitalize, but that's gonna bother me. Alright, so our current hit points. Your current hit points are based off of your class. Your class gets a set of hit die, and your hit die determines how much health you start with. And as a rogue, we start with a 1d8. Normally when it calls for a 1d8, a 1d6, whatever, means you have to roll. However, at first level, you get the max, and you always add your constitution bonus to your health. So right now, our maximum health is 8 plus 2, so 10 hit points, and current hit points is 10. We have no temporary. Total hit dice, we have 1, and our hit dice is a D8. I think that one's pretty simple to figure out. Your speed is based off of the race that you are playing. We are playing a dwarf, which means we have a speed of 25. Your average speed is going to be 30, but dwarfs are short and squat, therefore they have 25 feet. Your initiative, however, is based off of your dexterity, and our dexterity is high as fuck, so we have a +5. Your armor class is based off of two things. It's based off of the armor itself and your dexterity. Some armors have stipulations with them that are like, look, this is all armor and you can't move dexterously in this, so you don't get to add your dexterity bonus. Or other armor is like, you can add your dexterity bonus up to a certain number. But we just have regular leather armor, which means we get to add our dexterity bonus. And the leather armor that we start with makes us start our AC at an 11, which makes our AC a 16 to start because we have super high dexterity. Alright, so that's the... Oh, let's get our passive perception in here, a whole 11. Proficiencies in languages, we're not going to worry about that on this one. Maybe once the community gets a name for this character, we'll do something there. But for now, we're just going to leave it blank. But that is normally decided by race, background, and then any feats or anything that you have discussed with your DM, like different languages and stuff that would be spoken in different places. Maybe you grew up there, or maybe you trade with people from there, so it would make sense for your character to know that. But that's something that you would need to talk to your DM about. Don't just make assumptions, because 9 times out of 10 they're not going to be like upset about you wanting to take another language. It's just going to be the confusion that's going to throw everybody off that's going to be the issue. So just make sure that you talk to your DM before doing anything like that. So we can go ahead and go up here to this stuff. This stuff is, to me, like the most important part of a character. All of this other stuff that we've done, it's insanely important. It really is. You need to know your armor class. You need to know your initiative. You need to know what your speed is, your hit points, your skills. You need to know what all that is, because that makes the character functional, right? All of this stuff is the mechanics of it. All of the stuff that we've done so far is like, okay, so when I roll this, I'm adding this. It makes the character playable. This stuff right here, this is what makes your character your character. Your personality traits, your ideals, your bonds, and your flaws. Those 4 things right there are what make your character your character. I cannot stress that enough. That is the part I spend the most time on when creating a character, and that's the part I spend the most time working with other players on when I'm running a game. Like, when we're setting up to run a game, this campaign that we set up to run, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, your stats are, that's awesome, good job. But now, what are you doing here? Is there any races that you have an issue with? You know, for example, if you're a high elf, you probably have an issue with drow. If you are someone from a jungle clan, then you might have a little bit of an issue with Yuan-ti, because generally speaking, they're an evil race. So, and maybe it's just as simple as the dwarven-elven rivalry, you know? But there's stuff like that. Then on top of that, there's how would your character act in this situation? You know, what kind of character they are. It goes in, and your alignment can help you make a lot of these decisions. But let's go ahead and break down individually what each one of these, at least in my opinion, what each one of these means. And John, feel free to throw in your input as well on these. But we'll start with personality traits. Personality traits are probably the simplest of these 4. Personality traits is like, what kind of makes them stand out? What's their, you know, a personality trait to me would be, if you're a really charismatic character, that would be a character trait or a personality trait to me. You're the one that will start the conversation. You'd rather talk your way out of a situation than to get into a fight. Another personality trait could be just the opposite of that. You're always looking for a fight. You try to pick fights. You don't care to talk your way out of a situation because you want to punch your way out of the situation. To me, that's what a personality trait. Other fun personality traits would be like, it could be that you enjoy spending time in the tavern, whether it's drinking, playing card games, just you enjoy the social aspect of it. That's a character. That's a personality trait. It's something that definitely affects and grows your character, but not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a positive or a negative way. That's what a personality trait is to me.
It's more who your character is. Like, who are you? In my opinion, that's what it is. Personality traits are who your character is.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good way to sum it up. Your ideals. Ideals are, well, what makes... I type slow as fuck, sorry guys. What makes you you? That is personality traits. Ideals. Ideals. You want to take the lead on this one?
You can probably explain it a lot better than me. I do like generalizations, but ideals are more like what your character will follow. They're kind of like what you hold to be true. So I guess examples would be like if you're a very religious person, right? If you're playing like a paladin, your ideals would more follow like what your beliefs are.
Yeah, they would run parallel with that. An ideal to me is also like a stronger personality trait almost. For example, we were talking about having issues with different races and stuff. There's a difference between having a personality trait of like, I have, a negative opinion of drow versus an ideal of drow are bad. Because an ideal of drow being bad is like, you are convinced they're bad, and it's going to be hard to change your mind on the subject. You're not going to want to work with them. You're not going to want to, anything like that. So an ideal, is like a belief you hold. I think that would be a good way to sum that up. I might have spelled belief wrong. If I did, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not my sister. I'm not an English teacher. Bonds. See, and to me, these first three, they kind of build off each other a little bit. You could have an ideal that's just a strong personality trait. But a bond is like etched in stone 100%. Like, you want to talk about having a religious ideals, your ideals would spread from your bonds. So if you're playing a paladin, like, you are bonded. Let's say you're playing a paladin who worships Buldre, the goddess of hearth and home. Then your bonds are going to be along the lines of like protecting and serving other people, making people feel safe. If you are a paladin of or even a cleric of, even probably more so a cleric of like Kelemvor, then your bonds are basically going to be things should not come back to life, and that's the way it is. Like, I'm Kelemvor is the D&D god of death.
I know.
No, I know you know. As in case some people didn't know.
Oh, okay.
But that would be a bond of yours. Is things should not be undead. That's wrong. That's not okay. That's never going to be okay. That's what a bond. It's something that you. It's like a set of rules you live your life by.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna put. A set of rules you live by. Flaws are pretty obvious. Flaws.
It doesn't take much explaining.
Yeah, you know. And you may be sitting here going, "Oh, I have to give my character flaws." No, you don't. You don't have to sit here and give your character flaws. It's not a requirement.
Nope.
However, it's a lot of fun. Like, and that sounds dumb, but you know, like, well, how is making my character flawed make them more fun? Well, it makes them more relatable. It makes it easier to role play as the character because, like, we as humans were flawed. I think it's pretty safe to say that. You know, you're not gonna get a lot of argument from that statement. And so giving them certain flaws and stuff, and they don't have to be like super negative flaws. Like, the flaw doesn't have to be that they're a racist, sociopathic alcoholic. That you don't have to go that far. Your flaw can your flaw can simply be you don't know when to shut up. You know, you talk too much. Your flaw can be you really like baked beans and you don't care about the consequences. That can be a flaw. A flaw can be you don't bathe. It can be you sing in the shower. It can be, you know, a flaw doesn't necessarily have to be like this super negative thing. It's just like a habit that you have that not everyone else might perceive as a good thing. You know, and the flaws don't always have to be by choice either. Like, obviously you're choosing the flaw. That doesn't mean that your character chose it. For example, your flaw could be you're missing 2 fingers. Your flaw,
or you're missing both your eyes.
Yeah, your flaw could be you're mute. Fantasy Sword played a mute character, a mute rogue actually. That's kind of funny.
Are you talking about his Kenku?
No, his Kenku was funny.
It's technically mute.
But no, he in another campaign he was telling me about a mute rogue that he played that could only communicate
sign language?
No, in the brain.
Oh, telepathically?
Telepathically. I wanted to say psychotically. I don't know why, but that was the only word I could come up with. And I'm like, well, I mean, you know, showing your emotions through stabbing people would be pretty psychotic. But yeah, another like simple flaw would be your character doesn't like grapes. That's a flaw. You know, it's just fun things that you can use to role play. So honestly, I don't really know that flaws needs much written down. We'll just put negative, something that negatively affects your character.
I wouldn't even put negatively. Because it could be like neutral shit. Like, honestly, not liking grapes, I mean, it's a flaw. It doesn't seem like a negative
really
flaw to me.
Affect anything.
I would put neutral or negative.
I was just say something that doesn't improve your character, or something.
Yeah.
No, something that doesn't positively change.
There you go.
And again, this is our opinion on this. So we could be completely wrong about how this was meant to be, and that's just, you know, that's the way it is. We're wrong about it. But in our opinion, that is how you would sum those 4 things up. And again, to me as a player and a game master, those 4 things are going to make your character. That's what's going to make your character fun to play. That's what's going to make your character relatable. That's what's going to make it that's what's going to make you want to come back game after game. Isn't to, see how high you can roll. It's to see, which, don't get me wrong, that's fun. The combat is fun. Skill checks are fun, but
rolling that 20s, it's amazing.
It is,
but it's not the whole game.
But reacting to those rolls and having these as a guideline as to how your character would react to their successes or failures. For what if one of your flaws was you have low self-esteem or something? Your character goes on a spree of completion after completion after completion, success after success. That flaw could change. There's none of this. Look, watch, ready? Boom, I deleted it. It's not permanent. You can change this. If you write in a pen on your character sheet, you're a psychopath, and I can't help you. But nothing's unchangeable in this game. Some things may be harder. For example, bonds should be much harder to change than a flaw or a personality trait.
Same with ideals.
It should take something like very drastic to change. For example, maybe you have one of your ideals is that drow are evil, you will never work with a drow, like this is how you were raised, whatever, and then a drow saves your fucking life. Well, now that ideal could start to change a little bit because they didn't have to do that, but they did it.
I mean, maybe they're not all bad.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe that's where you would go. And then maybe you end up back in their town and everyone's feeding you and clothing you and all this stuff, and you're like, holy shit, okay, I had the wrong opinion of these people. I am so sorry. That's to me, like, it would have to be something extreme for ideals or bonds to change. But something like a flaw or personality trait, I don't think they're as hard, unless your flaw happens to be that you're blind or you're missing a leg or something like that. That would be just a little bit harder to change than like the fact that you don't like grapes, but only a little bit, just a teensy little bit. So anyway, that is those four. Most important by far, in my opinion.
I would say the same.
Take your time with those and make sure that you have the character that you want to play. Features and traits. This is describing your character, and that's honestly what I'm going to put. I'm just going to put describing your character. This right here is where you would put how tall they are, how heavy they are, maybe what accent they talk in, whether they have a beard or not. We're dwarfs, so whether we're male, female, or somewhere in between, we have a beard because we're dwarfs. So that would be, something we put on here, is that we have a beard. It would also be stuff like any tattoos or markings, or maybe anything that you didn't necessarily want to call equipment, but is still like important to the character, like a locket or a bracelet, or maybe it's just like a piece of cloth from I don't know, I have a super fucking dark mind, so you have a piece of cloth from your dead significant other's clothing that you keep tied around your arm, because that's where my mind went.
Get a little dark, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. That's just, I don't think I've made a non-depressing character. But, how do you spell? I'm so bad at spelling.
To be fair, I don't think I have either. Just like thinking back on all of my shit now. I'm like, Igni. I guess Igni isn't a depressing character. He's a fun-loving character.
Hey, there you go. I think I've got. Oh, I do have one. Chipper Diddy Dun. Fucking love that guy. Chipper Diddy Dun. He's my. Yeah. Is it battles? No. Artillerist, artificer. Love that guy. his two top stats are intelligence and strength. He uses them all. He's amazing. But yeah, so this is just any like visual description of your character, or fuck it, you can just come down here and draw it. They don't give you a very big space to draw on, but there's a really cool
sort of thing.
Yeah, if you're good at that sort of thing, do that. Otherwise, I would suggest drawing it on another piece of paper and then maybe cutting it out and sticking it on there, or just staple it to the back. If you're using a digital form, a very great website that you guys can go to, Hero Forge. You can make some amazing characters, and the coolest thing is they now have like little tokens, and they have backdrops and everything to take portraits of your character. And then on top of that, just like they always have, you can buy it as a miniature. So you can make the character and everything, put it on your character sheet, and then also you can be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna have him or her or them in person in like 2 weeks, and it's gonna be fucking awesome because miniatures are awesome. You can also order them fully colored. You can color the entire thing on Hero Forge. Yeah, it's crazy. We actually used Hero Forge for our characters on the campaign. Any pictures that you guys see of our characters for the campaign were made on Hero Forge, though we are in no way sponsored by Hero Forge. You know, so they may not agree with everything that we say, all the good disclaimer stuff. But they have been very generous as to allow us to use their miniatures or like tokens and stuff. We can use them on our campaign, and so definitely go check out their website. Actually, well, I don't want to open a new tab. Otherwise, I'll throw it in from my phone. I'll get I'll make sure it's in there by the end. But while we're doing disclaimers, something I forgot to say at the very beginning. The stream is unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast at Wizards of the Coast LLC. So that's our disclaimer there as well. Wizards of the Coast, this is their character sheet. Everything, you know, D&D, that is Wizards of the Coast. This is just, like we've been saying this whole time, our opinion on everything. You know, don't take our word as law, but, you know, take it as the next best thing. Alright, so then you can come down here and it gives you a little bit more descriptive stuff. You can make your ages. Roll me a D100, John. We'll see how old we are. I'll roll a
I need to get my D100.
D10 to see how tall we are. Or I'll probably actually roll a D6 to see how tall we are. Maybe a D4. Alright, we're 5 feet.
We are 43.
Alright, 5 feet tall.
Are you kidding me? You should have rolled a D4.
43.
You're a dwarf.
Our weight, roll 3 D100.
Fucking damn. You're a heavy dwarf.
Well, that's at most 300 pounds.
Yeah, which is the fucking weight of a
I mean, I guess 2D.
Warforged.
I'll roll 1, you roll 1, we'll add them together. I got 20.
I got 9.
He's 29 pounds. I'm doing it.
He's a fucking light dwarf.
Eyes are gonna be yellow eyes, cause fuck it.
Purple eyes.
Purple eyes?
Hell yeah.
Okay. I guess this is Bear With Us character, so. purple.
I think any character I ever play has purple eyes.
Skin. They're a hill dwarf, so probably like tan. I don't know. That's pretty general. And hair is 43, graying. No, not for a dwarf. We'll just say dark.
No. He may have a couple gray hairs, but
we have dark hair. There we go. And then, like we said, character appearance goes here. Allies and organizations. This is stuff that you'll definitely need to hash out with your DM. The character that we're playing, where we're a rogue and we're full hero background, gives you some perks where like people from the area where you're a full hero, they're more likely to give you like housing and like keep you safe, stuff like that. And so there might be some organizations within a town that you're a folk hero from that are just like super welcoming and like, yeah, our guild will put you up for the night, kind of a thing. So your allies and organizations definitely going to need to be hashed out with your DM. This is another one of those things where it's okay to plan for stuff, but don't make any decisions on it and then be like, oh yeah, actually in this town I'm friends with these 3 guilds, and he's like, you are? Because that just it's a lot of pressure, and it takes a little bit away from the immersiveness. So make sure that that's something that you hash out with your DM. Additional features and traits. This, I believe, is just more for as you're going along. Anything that gets added, new tattoo, new necklace, new headband, new, stuff like that. Anything that's not qualified as gear, you can stick it on here. If you get in a fight and you get a nasty scar across your face, that could go in there. Treasure, this is just another place. So this is like your spending money. This would be more like your treasure hoard. Depending on the DM, there's different ways of doing this. If you guys have like a bag of holding or a handy haversack, items like that, where you can hold more weight in a interdimensional like pocket essentially, then you can hold a lot of treasure and just carry it around with you, and you have your 10,000 gold on you. However, putting 10,000 gold in your pocket is going to make it so that you need the world's strongest belt. So
and then some.
Yeah, and then some. So depending on the DM, sometimes you just, they'll work in a way into the story as to how you end up with, either a handy haversack or a bag of holding. Or sometimes around the level when you start to like make more money, you're finding treasures and stuff like that, they would you'd have some sort of stronghold, whether and your stronghold could be anything from the fort that John and I made in our backyard when we were in 6th grade to a
actual fort,
an actual fort or a mansion or a house or something like that. And that's where you would put like your treasure. So you could either like keep it stashed somewhere, or if you like having your treasure on you, then you may want to seek out and find a handy haversack or bag of holding, or your DM may just give you one because it makes the game a lot more convenient than worrying about encumbrance. Personally, the only campaign that I've run like all the way through, I definitely opted for the bag of holding, because it saves so much time instead of worrying about okay, so who's got this and let's distribute weight and blah blah blah, especially at these early levels where like the characters in the party may not all trust each other. So like, I don't want to hand you my 50 gold just because it weighs a little bit too much. Fuck that, I'll take my point of encumbrance, come at me. But yeah, I haven't decided how I'll do it in this campaign, but previously I definitely have just worked it into the story as to how they got a bag of holding. DMs who are curious on ways to work that into the story smoothly, it's really, really simple, honestly. Either somebody who's giving them a mission early on gives it as a reward or as part of a reward. That's a really easy way to do it. Another really easy way to do it is just, somebody has it at a store and they don't know what they have. And the magic user in there, or the one that knows the most about magic, would notice this is a magic bag, but this guy does not seem to know that. And so they could get it for really cheap or something like that. Pretty easy to work it in. But yeah, a lot of ways to do that. And then we're going to save a fuckload of time on this page because we're rogue. So I'm kind of glad that we canceled Wizard out. We weren't doing Wizard because we would have been here for another 2 years picking all our spells and shit. So,
we just rolling D100s.
Pretty much. But this is where all your spells go. Technically, you would still have a spellcasting ability. As a rogue, I believe it's intelligence. And because you could become an arcane trickster rogue at level 3.
True.
And so your spell casting ability, you would have a +3 right there. And your spell save DC is going to be 8 plus your modifier plus your proficiency. And so it's 8 plus 5 for us, which is a 13. So that's the spell save DC is a 13. Your spell attack bonus is your ability modifier plus your proficiency. So we'd have a +5 to hit on spell attacks that require a roll to hit. And that pretty much does it, guys. So we have created, bear with us, the folk hero rogue, who is a chaotic neutral hill dwarf. And there he is. I do think it would be really cool to maybe work this character that we've rolled up some stats and everything for, instead of just throw him away. I think it'd be kind of cool to work him into the campaign, or maybe a one-shot later on the channel. So if you guys have any suggestions for personality traits, beliefs, bonds, flaws, stuff like that, or if you have, an accent that you think he should talk in, languages that you think it'd be cool if he knew, definitely throw those in the Discord, because I think it'd be really cool to have like a fan, a fan-made character. I think it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and make him 129 pounds instead of 29 pounds, but but yeah. So, and a profession. He's got a class. He's a rogue, right? But it'd be fun to give him like an actual profession. Like, since he's gonna be an NPC, maybe he
given all of his stats, he'd be like a fucking PI or something.
Well, yeah, I was, PI, or honestly, he could be a. I just accidentally opened my Epic Games. Oops. He could be like a locksmith or something like that too, with his, sleight of hand and his thieves' tool skill.
True.
So yeah, any ideas? Make sure you guys throw them in the Discord. I'm gonna toss the Discord into the chat for you guys so you know what it is. So there you go. Everybody's welcome. A lot of D&D talks. We've even got like a role-playing channel in there too, so come hang out. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, definitely, even if you don't want to throw it in the main chat, you can always private message me, and maybe we'll do either some sort of a competition, or like people voting on different ideas and stuff for it, or something like that later on down the road. So I'm gonna save this character sheet. We're gonna keep it around, and hopefully we'll get to use it again. But that, everyone, is kind of a brief summary on how to make a character in D&D. So hopefully everybody enjoyed themselves. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. Hopefully it was helpful. If you guys want to see like more of these, I do know how to do a couple different games. Some of them will definitely take longer than this one to explain how to make a character. For example, Call of Cthulhu. To make your character in that takes a little bit longer, considering you have a profession instead of a class, and to figure out your like starting money, you figure out your wages in that profession, and then you take what is it? It's like 4 years of working at that, and that's what you have saved up, and then and then once you have that, you don't get starting gear. You buy all your starting gear with the money that you just figured out how much you had of it. So it takes a little bit longer. But don't let that deter you. It's a fun game. I had a lot of fun with the campaign that I played in Call of Cthulhu. You don't ever really win Call of Cthulhu. You just kind of feel accomplished for a little bit before you get shit on again. But it's still fun. I promise. It really is.
Only way the game should ever be played.
But yeah,
you never feel like you win. You feel just like you're doing good. And you haven't fucked
exactly.
up.
I haven't fucked up in a while. That's good. I think. I mean, guess it could be bad. I don't know. I mean, you can't beat Cthulhu, so it's more like.
I mean, he's
survive.
a god.
It's
I
more
would
like
be
survive
concerned
Cthulhu.
if you could.
But I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. Like I said, if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to see more videos of like just my dumbass giving some DMing tips or character tips, how to roleplay, we would be more than happy to come back on D&D Day and do something like that too. I think that would be a lot of fun. So let us know in the Discord, in the comments, and if I get it posted to YouTube, in the comments down below. But I found out the hard way that uploading videos from Twitch to YouTube, not necessarily hard, definitely time consuming.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that doesn't matter. We'll try to get it up there. If not, you guys obviously will see this in the VOD. So again, I want to make sure everybody knows this is in no way, shape, or form sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. The stream
Wizards.
Wizards. Wizards of the. It's not sponsored by them either, but Wizards, if you guys want to, like, hit me up. This stream is unofficial content, fan content permitted under the fan content policy, not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portions of the materials used are property of Wizards of the Coast at Wizards of the Coast LLC. And thank you everybody over at Wizards of the Coast, first of all, for making the amazing game of Dungeons and Dragons. Second of all, thank you for having things such as the fan content policy, because it allows people to make helpful videos like this, and I'm sure it's appreciated in the smaller communities. I know I appreciate it. So thank you for everything you guys do over there. It's awesome. Also, since we're here, I'm going to give a huge shout out to Hero Forge. Again, thank you for letting us use your website to make all of our characters and stuff for the show. And another one that you guys haven't experienced at all, but Sirenscape. We used it in our session zeros, and I think it's safe to say it definitely it was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
The atmosphere that Sirenscape brings to the game is, I want to get better at DJing it, but it's pretty sick. Like, me as a DM being able to describe, like, you know, as you guys step out, the weather starts to get a bit worse. You notice that there's some storm clouds growing off in the distance and a slight rain has begun, and then I can click like 2 buttons that I have preset, and it plays thunder rolling in the distance and a light rain beginning to fall. Oh my god, it's so cool. It literally makes it so much more immersive, and I love it. So thank you, Sirenscape.
It's amazing.
You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing over there. But I think that does it for all my shout outs and everything. So, John, unless you've got something.
Nope.
All right.
If you want to see us do a character that's like fully done, that way you have examples. It's not just like, hey, this is what it kind of is. Just let us know and we can make like a full character. I have a couple characters that I haven't done like personality shit with yet, so.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to do another stream that's like super interactive or something, and you guys actually like vote in the comments and everything, that would be fucking sick. I would love to do that. You guys would vote on like the race and background, class, all that stuff. I think that'd be sick. Also, if you guys want to see like a higher level character done, I could definitely understand that too. This is like the basic bitch. This is how you make a character. This is how you start. There you go. But if you guys want to see something that's a bit higher level, so maybe you guys understand some of the abilities a little bit better or something like that, let us know. Again, in the Discord, or if I get it posted to YouTube in the comments down below. But anyway, until then, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. So make sure you guys are staying safe. Don't forget to bear with each other, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Deuces.
Thanks everybody for coming and checking out this video. If you guys liked what you saw, make sure you hit the like button down below. Also, make sure you guys subscribe here on YouTube and turn those notifications on so you know when we've got more videos like this coming out. Also, if you guys are enjoying this content and you want to be a little more actively involved, make sure you go follow us over at our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/bearwithus. Other than that, guys, remember to bear with each other. Have a great day.